I wasn't supposed to see it, but there it was, shared on a private Snapchat story, meant only for the girls. Just 30 seconds, a blur of bodies, shouts, and the unmistakable sound of champagne bottles popping. The moment I heard someone yell, "That's 3 // underscore / underscore win," my stomach dropped. I watched the video again. And again. The words burned through my chest, colder than any betrayal I had ever felt. The ring I had planned to give her in 6 days sat in my palm, cold and heavy. Her name was Caitlin. We'd been together for 4 years, through thick and thin. I was there for her when her mother battled cancer, and she was there when I lost my job. But that weekend in Miami, the one where she said she needed time to let loose with her friends, changed everything. I didn't confront her. I didn't scream or cry. Instead, I took the video, downloaded the audio, saved the screenshots of her friends' messages. I didn't want to hurt her immediately. I wanted something much bigger than that. I smiled quietly to myself, knowing that this wasn't going to end with a canceled wedding. This was going to end with a lesson. Caitlin came home glowing. She was tan, excited, still smelling of champagne, and with a wide grin plastered on her face. "Babe, it was wild," she laughed, tossing her heels by the door. "But I'm so ready to be your wife." I just smiled, not giving anything away. "Glad you had fun," I replied, pressing a kiss to her forehead. I acted like nothing had changed, and she didn't notice how cold I felt inside. That night, as she scrolled through texts from her bridesmaids, I didn't sleep. I quietly packed my things. At 3:17 a.m., I grabbed my passport, my laptop, and a burner phone I bought just days before. I left the ring on the kitchen table, next to a note. Asterisk, don't call. You'll understand soon. Asterisk. By sunrise, I was on a flight to Vancouver. Not because I had to escape, but because the Real show needed distance. The day of the rehearsal dinner, Caitlin showed up at the venue, glam and gorgeous, but there was no groom in sight. My calls went unanswered. My parents wouldn't take her calls. My groomsmen ignored her. Panic began to rise, and by 5 p.m., chaos had taken over. "What's going on here?" her father asked. "Did something happen in Miami?" her mother whispered to anyone who would listen. By the time the clock struck midnight, Caitlin was standing alone in a wedding dress. There was no wedding. There was no groom. There was nothing. And there was no trace of me anywhere. Caitlin tried to control the narrative, of course. She told people I had cold feet, that I'd bailed last minute. She claimed I had emotional issues. But the truth has a way of shining through when you least expect it. By Friday, I sent the first email to a select group. You should know who Caitlin really is. Attached was a video from her bachelorette party, the audio file with her voice laughing, and the screenshots from the group chat where she bragged about the men she'd slept with. I watched as her world began to crumble. By Sunday, her office had placed her under internal review for unethical behavior. Sleeping with clients and colleagues in a firm-sponsored event in a city full of business opportunities? Yeah, not great optics for a junior associate. 3 of her closest bridesmaids turned on her, claiming they had no idea. Mia, one of them, even messaged me directly saying, "We thought you were okay with it. We were told you were open." I didn't respond. They weren't sorry. They were just afraid of being next. In less than 72 hours, Caitlin lost her job, was ostracized from her family, and found herself completely isolated. Her father sent me a thank you note for exposing her lies. Meanwhile, the man she'd hooked up with during that weekend, James, shared the footage with his friends, and it quickly spread to her extended family. By the time the dust settled, her perfect world had collapsed. 3 weeks later, Caitlin reached out. She sent texts, emails, even Venmo'd me with a message. "Please just tell me what you want." But I wasn't after money. I wanted clarity, for her and for everyone. I updated the wedding website. Where the RSVP form once was, a letter appeared. It read, "Asterisk, I love Caitlin deeply. I supported her dreams. I planned a life with her. But I will not marry someone who calls me a stepping stone while sleeping with strangers at her bachelorette party. Asterisk." I close with a quote from one of her own texts. Asterisk, he's a sure thing. I'll marry him. take what I can, and then move on to someone better. Asterisk. The fallout was immediate. Her father pulled business deals with James' family. Her ex-boss officially terminated her from the firm. Even Mia, who had tried to defend Caitlin, came forward, posting on social media, Asterisk's actions have consequences. Loyalty matters. I stand with the truth. Asterisk. Caitlin had no one left. Her final message arrived on a Tuesday night. Asterisk, you got what you wanted. I'm humiliated. I can't go outside without someone whispering. I lost my job, my friends. My family barely looks at me. You win. Happy? Asterisk. I didn't respond. This wasn't a game. It was a wake-up call. One that I knew she would never forget. 3 months later, I sat alone at a quiet cafe in Lisbon, Portugal. No drama. No noise. No echoes of betrayal. Just the sound of waves and a fresh start. Caitlin never recovered. But that wasn't my concern. I heard she moved in with her cousin on the west side and started a blog to help her heal. It didn't take off. Her name was too tainted. A few weeks later, she sent one final message. Asterisk, I'm not asking to fix things. I just want you to know that I think about it every day. I ruined the only person who ever believed in me. Asterisk. I didn't reply, not because I hated her, but because healing meant not looking back. What I gained by walking away. Peace, perspective, and a blueprint for self-worth that didn't depend on someone else's validation. I reconnected with old friends, started consulting part-time while traveling, and even began teaching business skills to young entrepreneurs abroad. One night, during dinner in Dubrovnik, a friend said, Asterisk, you've changed. You look sharper, lighter. Asterisk. I smiled. It cost everything, but it was worth it. For anyone listening, this isn't just a revenge story. It's a reclamation story. When someone treats your life like a stepping stone, you don't scream. You don't beg. You simply step aside, let them fall, and keep walking. Because you were never the fool. They just mistook kindness for weakness. And when the truth lands, it doesn't need to shout. It just hits. If you've ever been betrayed, humiliated, or treated like a fool for loving too deeply, know this. Revenge doesn't always wear fire and fury. Sometimes it's calm, silent, and complete.